Go to
Can you see me?
there we go. Yep. All right, folks. So Skip has reached out to me and he said he had an emergency thing to tell me of a miracle. And he said, I am outside your house. And he's literally not. I said, oh man, Skip's outside my house. I thought I told him I moved because I didn't want him showing up out of the blue like that. Anyway, so I said, all right, well, let's do a video. Because Skip said, I want to see your face when I tell you this. So fire away, Skip.
Okay, so I want to give people background.
Yes, please.
Josh and I met several years ago. Josh is a financial guy, and I've had
several years ago, dude.
Yeah.
Several decades ago, you mean?
Yeah, like 20. I don't know, when would we say that? In the 90s? Could we even say that? Children would be like, in the olden days, the 90s. So
we're driving a horse and buggies. Well, we were with the Mennonites.
Exactly. They go by clunk, clunk. I remember waking up to clunk, 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 clunk.
I tell you, man, on Sunday morning, try and go to church behind those convoy of Mennonites.
Yeah, Dayton traffic jam is 25 buggies in a line. So what I enjoyed, first of all, I have because we don't have the garage, I do have the board and I do want to use the board, but I want everyone to know that what I appreciate about Josh is trying to help people have some hope with their finances and do some planning with their finances. And when I get into a case with Social Security disability, I'm talking to people who are losing hope because their health is going bad. They've worked hard many, many years and they're like, wow, what do I do with this now that I'm not going to be able to finish this race at 65 or 66, 67? I need to make some decisions. And we talked about 55. So like, it's still the rule is 55 is really a time when Social Security changes how they look at you. And so there's a whole group of people that if you're 55 and over, you can have a serious conversation with me and Josh where it's a good time to do that. But on the occasion
for Social Security disability, for SSDI you're talking about.
Yeah, DI. You paid in and you're 55, but your body's starting to fall apart. Yeah. And that's what we originally met in Josh's basement to say. A lot of times that 55-year-old person says, well, how am I going to live? How am I going to be able to pay off my house? What do I do with my equity? Yeah. You know, how am I going to make it to the end? And I said, well, I can work on getting you back benefits, which will be a chunk of money for Josh to talk to you about. And I can work on securing monthly benefits and we can figure out that amount to budget. But what you do and where you put it, that's a Josh question that lawyers might comment on, but it's not our specialty. My job is to say, are you disabled according to the rules of Social Security? Exactly. I help you apply, I go to a hearing and hopefully you get a favorable decision and then you start getting you get a back benefits check 60 days after your hearing and then you start getting monthly benefits. But then I'm no longer in your life. I'm no longer part of your case. I give you your records back and it's over. But then you have all these decisions, back benefits, paying off your mortgage. Should I sell my house? Should I move to a better retirement community? Should I move to a better state that's better for me earning Social Security with the taxes? All those questions are stuff that I'm up on. And you're up on, and you can always ask Pablo if you don't know. Pablo knows, right?
I got another dog too. Did you know that, Skip?
No.
There he is right there.
Oh.
His name's Finnegan. And
hey, Finnegan. And I've got, I'm in the country now in Charlottesville area. So I've got 4 guineas, 4 ducks, a turkey, and 6 chickens.
No kidding.
So later on, we'll go back out to the coop and we'll check it out. I just bought it.
Like Crozet or something like that?
Yeah, in Crozet, yeah.
Are you literally in Crozet?
Yeah, I'm in Crozet right now in my home office, which I'm renting. I'm still in transition. But this is the miracle. I get an email 2 days ago. I was kind of down and out, like, what am I going to be working on in the future? And I get an email through my website, which basically says, I watched your YouTube video. And I'm like, okay. And so I call him, and this is more of a Social Security miracle than it is a financial miracle. But in general, one of the videos we did after we did your basement videos is we did a federal court appeals don't give up video.
Yes.
So I can't tell you too much details about this client because I don't want to reveal too much because maybe people, but this person that called me is a veteran and who has served his country and what you would consider a model citizen who has 100% currently vet disability rating. He lost his Social Security hearing.
What?
2 years ago. Yep.
100% disability, and he lost his Social Security hearing.
Right. He's been homeless, a veteran homeless. Yeah.
So I assume he's not married or anything. Or...
No. Well, I don't know all the background,
Right.
but the bottom line is a guy who served his country, has VA benefits, is trying to get better, has 100%, and it's like an unemployability thing that they put with the 100% disability.
Hold on a second. Oh. Hold on just a second, Skip. Yeah, good time.
All right. So.
Oh, wait, hold on. So let me unrecord for just a second. Okay, looks like they're done. All right, we're still recording. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I spent some time talking to him on the phone, and I get more of the story. But
hold on a second. Let me skip. All right, keep going.
Okay, so he explains that he has what he considers a good case. He has PTSD, which is a difficult thing, but ultimately a lot of tough times, a lot of treatment, some really good reports from his VA psychologist. And he said, I went to a hearing and the judge denied me. And I'm not sure if he had an attorney at the hearing or not, but at some point the attorney dropped the case and he decided to keep pursuing it. And he watched the video that partly comes from your
right,
showing to YouTube, and the video is the federal court appeals don't give up.
Yeah.
And he said, he goes, I tried to find a lawyer. I talked to so many lawyers, none of them would help me. And he filed the appeal. Like I tell him on the video, if you can't find anyone to help you,
hold on a second. Hold on. All right, go ahead.
So basically, once he lost, he tried to find an attorney to take his appeal, and he couldn't find an attorney to take his appeal. And so he, at some point, watched my video about don't give up, that you can do this on your own. And as far as I know, he has a high school degree. He sounds really intelligent, served his country, career military, a lot of stuff in his background with serving our country. And here he is trying to get some money so he can get some health care so he's not homeless. He has VA benefits, but it doesn't give you everything. The VA hospital doesn't give you the greatest care, or used to not. It's improving, but Medicare does give you some options, right? So he wants those options. And he's paid in. It's his money. And so he gets denied at the appeals council level. And I wish you would have called me at that level, because there's an opportunity to, add more evidence at that appeals council. We can always add evidence for that short period after your denial. But then after that, when you go to federal court, it's locked, which means you can't add really good stuff that you get later, which most people don't know. They're like, well, we can fix it later. No, you've got a 60-day, I call it, window to go back to your doctor, get more evidence, get more information, and then pad the file and fix the areas where the judge denied you, to say, no, judge, you skipped over stuff. You were asking for stuff. Here it is. I got my doctor to address it. So it's a really good time. You get the sadness of a denial at the hearing, you call Skip, because I can, in that 60-day, I can get you back to your doctor and maybe get those things fixed. Okay, so he tried to do it, but he never got a lawyer to help him. So then he goes to federal court and he makes his own case and it files the complaint. He writes his own memo asking for the case to be remanded, and the federal judge awards him a remand, and he gets to be remanded back to have another hearing. No lawyer would take the case. He didn't give up, and he goes, I'm so glad. And so key thing is, by not giving up, he now needs to talk to Josh about, if he wins, he still has a little more to go. What does he do with the $40,000 back benefits? How does he plan his retirement? He's at 55. He's really sick. He has health care, but he needs some help because he's going to be on this earth for a little longer for sure. And so what does he do? So he's the guy that we want to help.
So he said, he saw the video, said, don't give up. He said, let me just keep trying.
Yep. And he did it himself. A non-lawyer wrote a brief to the federal judge and he won his case.
Is it because the judge has so much like some judges hear it differently than others? I mean,
no, the Social Security did such a bad job that it was obvious just by appealing, once they got a new set of eyes, that the federal judge said, whoa, this has got to go back and they got to redo this.
So what exactly does a remand mean? Like a rehearing?
Yeah. So like, for example, it might be, in polite terms, the federal judge might write it like this. There were some things you should have paid attention to. We don't understand why you didn't talk about it in your decision. Please go back and ask this gentleman or this lady who's been denied some more questions and get some more information and make the right decision. But they can't force it at this point. They can just send it back to them for a new hearing.
And a lot of times that new hearing is going to go in his favor because, like, dude, we screwed this up royally, essentially, is what's happening here, right?
5 years ago, yes. Now, some judges dig in. Even though the federal judge says you didn't do your job, they dig in now to show that they were right.
Is it the same judge who gets it is.
Yes. So it's sad for this guy is just regretting it because this lady didn't do a good job on the front end. Why would she do a good job on the second time around?
It's the same judge. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, unless you can show conflicts of interest or something, an ethical issue involved, it goes back to the same judge. And supposedly this judge is the worst judge out there. So he's all nervous. He's like, I've waited 2 years, now 3 years, now going to 4 years. And if this lady denies me another 2 more years, 6 years of pain to get money he paid in that he needs. And I'm just like, so he's really excited. So we're rejoicing in the idea that I called another lady that came through one of your videos. I told her, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Social Security is somewhat broken for a lot of folks, but the federal judges will fix it. It's not impossible. And here he is, high school degree, writes a brief, files it, does it himself, and he wins. And now he's back on the remand. So I'm really excited.
He's better off from having seen our video by far than if he didn't. And on top, he hasn't won yet, but he's definitely he's another swing at the plate. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, you think about it, and he's going back there, and we're going to be asking the question: someone with 100% VA disability, service connected, how is he not?
I mean, it's one thing if you're 10% disabled, you have a hearing issue, but if you're 100%, I don't get how that's even, whatever. But then Pablo, hold on a second, Skip. Hey guys, my thing with that is if you're 100% disabled from the DOD, Department of Defense, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not like you're some freaking fly-by-night guy who's just trying to skew the system.
Right.
You're disabled 100%. How could? But here's the thing gonna piss me off, pardon my French. This judge is gonna have so much pride. She goes like, "Well, I didn't make a mistake the first time." That would be, like you just said, that would be a big concern. Is that this judge will say, "I didn't screw up." You see what I'm saying?
And try to, write an opinion to cover herself to say, "I really did have good reasons," but obviously she did not have great reasons because the federal judge identified that she didn't do her job. Now the question is, she gets another swing at it. And he gets another swing at it, which is scary, which I told him, I said, I think you need a lawyer because I think now it's teed up to be a battle. Either she gives up and says, federal judge, it's made it clear that I need to really give this guy a fair hearing and grant benefits, or I got to make myself look good to Social Security and I got to go and do everything I can to make myself look reasonable in what I did.
Well, either way, so my thing with what you just said right there, it's kind of like, man, just the path of least resistance. She could fight this, but then she's gonna have to validate why she's fighting it so much. And does she really want to do that? She might say, okay, hey, they sell differently. Unless she has to stick up her butt where she's like, I will never do anything wrong, so this other guy can kiss my butt. At the end of the day, you still got a disabled veteran right here. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to have pride. We all know what pride does, but it's not that you literally have people right here. You see, it's not like, it's my opinion on Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl. There's a real live person.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to remind people of the sweet spot because they need financial planning. Yes. They need to get a lawyer to win, and a lawyer who knows once you the one. So like, the bullseye or the sweet spot in a tennis racket, that sweet spot is right after you lose, the judge is determined to make you look bad and rule against you. But they basically show their cards on what they have wrong with your case, right?
Okay, so once you've lost
the hearing.
Okay. Right. Now, do they hire you before that, Skip?
Well, yeah, if I go to the hearing, my goal is to win it, not to have this happen, you know what I mean? But in the event you go to a hearing and you lose, which is happening more and more, there's this window. If you don't have a lawyer and you lose, a lawyer can help you send in a bunch of stuff to fix it. Or you lose with the lawyer and you want to switch, or the lawyer doesn't want to go to the next step with you. Someone like me could say, well, give me everything that you got that's happened since the hearing, and let's load it up and send it in. Everything that addresses the judge's I guess critique of you. Everything, oh, you didn't explain this, you didn't give me this, I didn't see this.
So you know everything the judge said, I'm denying because this, that, and the other. It's okay.
You right. And so you have a trusted doctor you love, right? Here's the paperwork. You say, yeah. Judge, he wrote a bunch of things that's wrong with my case. You take that to Josh Scanlon's doctor and you say, hey, doc, you know me for the last 5 years. This is what the judge is saying is wrong with my medical case. What do you think about that? And would you write a letter responding to all these things she thinks aren't serious? I'm thinking it's serious. Doctor, you're thinking it's serious. But the judge somehow, who's not a medical doctor, doesn't think it's that serious.
Right.
So, all right, doctor, make sure you let her know if it is serious. Write it down so in that 60 days, I can get it to the court. And once I get it in there, it's in there for good. You know what I mean? And if I go up on federal court, the federal judge has to look at it. But if you let that 60 days go and you don't get it in, the new material, new evidence, then the record closes.
Yeah.
And you can't add. That's my point. So
that's the 60. Okay, gotcha.
And then they're coming back to you when they win because it's been hell, right? 4 years, no monthly benefits. You know, you're on food stamps, or in this guy, he's homeless, served his country in combat. And now he's like, I'm homeless. I don't have a dollar to my name to do anything. And so eventually you're going to win it. And we want to help them now because they got a plan. So he's going to have some cash. He does have monthly VA money. He does have monthly Social Security money. So what does he do? Because he's not going to have.
He doesn't have monthly Social Security money yet.
Not yet, but like you can plan on if you get the win, like in case $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, and you're going to say, well, now we can plan. We can look at everything because we have some steady money coming in. You're age 50.
Right.
You're going to get VA benefits for life. You got your Social Security benefits for life. So.
Now, you said 55. That's usually where there's like a opinion change in the Social Security courts that say once you're 55, we're more, I hate to say lenient, but we're more likely to grant you because you're obviously not trying to shirk the system. Is that kind of the thought?
No, it's more like this. It's so you're in your life, you were a banker, you were also a loan officer, and you're a certified financial planner. When you're 55, you only have to show you can't do the jobs you've done in your past.
Oh.
If you're under 55, I could say, well, Josh was never a receptionist at Vanguard, but he could be one now. It's a hypothetical job. When you turn 55, you just have to prove you can't do your past relevant work for 15 years. So it's 15 years back for you. So if you were a cook when you were in college, you don't have to worry about showing that you don't have to be a cook anymore. Right. But if you're 53, they might say, well, there's some other work you can do. And you could say, well, you did in the last 15 years, you did do catering. So you could be a hostess at a restaurant because it's less skilled. And so then that usually creates a less demanding job that most people will be able to theoretically have a potential of doing. But for you, and me, it's like usually if you've only done one type of work, you just have to knock down that work. But if you've done a variety of jobs, it's tougher. But for this guy, it would be whatever roles he did in the military. Once he turns 55, he has to show he can't do any of those jobs. But under 55,
I gotcha.
Less demanding work. Yeah.
And also you got a career established that, hey, I'm 55. I cannot go and dig ditches, you know what I'm saying? But I could go and stay as a banker. Hey, what was under Bush, there's a pretty significant change in, in the lack of flexibility for Social Security approvals on this, or what?
Well, no, I mean, some of this I'm just speculating on, but in general, the rules have been similar or the same for many, many years on how you win. One of the things that there has been some recent cases that have made it a little harder to win. Yeah. But in general, my speculation is at some point, 5 or 6 years ago, there was an issue of whether Social Security would have enough funds to pay everyone out. And I think they were doing, you're into finances, actuaries, they were looking at the people and the numbers. Supposedly, I've seen both sides of it. There are two sides to it. But some argue that there's more workers, more women are working, more money's going into the system. Every day, the numbers are increasing. So the money flow isn't locked in like Leave It to Beaver, where the 50-year-old man is working and the wife never worked. That world doesn't exist anymore. So the numbers and the money flowing is increasing.
Yeah.
So it isn't like a number that's capping out to be exhausted. It's a number growing, and that people need it. But I think there's an unwritten rule, which is anything that's close call, deny. Anything that's, winnable or winning on the record, deny. And only the absolutely slam dunk serious cases approve. But here he is 100% disabled. Now there's some rules. The VA, it's not system to system. They don't just honor the 100%.
Right. No, I got
but,
it. Right.
But the reality is, come on now, you got a government system that goes through the whole process. So say it's not 100%, say it's 80%. Right. It's still pretty significant.
But one government authority said this guy's 100% disabled.
Right.
Another government authority is saying he's not disabled enough. I mean, it's right. Like the same government.
Yeah. So that's the legal thing. And we're arguing that in another case I have from another YouTube video, which is this idea that doctors said the word, this lady's disabled. And they said, well, that's our decision. We're an independent group agency. We get to make that final decision. I get that. But when your doctor's declaring you're disabled, he's kind of saying he thinks you're sick and he thinks you're going to have trouble, right? So it seems like it's kind of funny.
I mean, the doctor doesn't have any incentive to make crap up,
Right. So that's what I wanted to encourage people. Don't give up, because we have a real example of someone who now has a shot at collecting 40 grand of back benefits and having benefits for the rest of their days monthly from Social Security. And they get to get their VA benefits with that because it's service-connected disability. So they get 2 checks. So it's a really good thing financially. And then he does need to plan his future out, because go back to school. What do you do? Can you work part-time? All these things are on something that could be explored. Does he, buy a house? What does he do? And all those decisions he's got to make.
Given what you said, though, about it seems to me, and I've thought this about Social Security for a while, that they encourage people to take their own, not their disability, but their retirement benefits early.
Right.
You cannot convince me they don't. And I also have a sneaky suspicion they're encouraging denials on this kind of case because of the facts that the Social Security Administration is going to run out of positive cash flow in 2024. Right. I will not, no one can convince me otherwise. Anyway, my point being, this also says if you are thinking about disability, you better get your ducks in a row before you go file a claim, because they're I hate to say cracking out, but they're definitely a lot more diligent in terms of approving your claim. Wouldn't you agree with that, Skip?
Right. I agree.
So you better make sure you're seeking competent advice, not just say, I don't feel like working, let me just throw it up against the wall and see if it sticks, because it's not going to stick. You better make sure you got your ducks in a row by a guy, Skip, who knows what the hell he's doing, because if not, then you can't go in there lightly, I guess is what I'm thinking. You better go in there fully armed, because they're looking to deny you, is the way I'm looking at this.
And that's the point. If you're not 55 and you're under 55, that is really, you got to talk to somebody, whether you hire me or anybody. Right. Because if you don't have a slam dunk, you could wait 2 years to lose, and then all of a sudden you have an insurance status issue where you only have insurance for so long. Yep. And now you've exhausted all your money waiting to win, you lose, and you're in a jam. Now, obviously, you can go back and get a job and get health insurance, maybe part-time. Like some employers have part-time benefits. I mean, part-time work but it's getting tougher and tougher. So I'm not sure if it's all going to work out for you financially. And so, yeah, if you're not in that slam dunk kind of category, you need to know exactly what you're up against, because there's some things you can do to help yourself get ready. Right. That was my point. Planning, they can get these financial numbers for you. They can look at whether they can rearrange some things. Maybe they can lighten their load and switch jobs for a while and keep their health going. I mean, it's all those things are not necessarily legal opinions. They're planning decisions.
Well, not that, but how would a person know to do that if they've never done it before? That's kind of where I'm going. It's like, you're going to go into this against the powers that be, who have every incentive to deny you. It's literally, you're fighting not just City Hall, you're fighting the federal government. Why would you go in there not armed? It doesn't make sense to me. And I think, I don't know, I just think that'd be one of those things where you better go in there fully armed, because you might. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you. So if you get approved for Social Security disability, does that automatically put you on Medicare?
Yeah, Medicare comes along, but not immediate. And that's what this veteran is asking. He has VA benefits, which is good. But like you were saying, Tri-State's not the best. You don't get all the great care there. So Medicare is better in a lot of ways, but it doesn't kick in until 24 months after you win. So you do need to figure out something, what you're going to do until you get Medicare, right? That's a planning decision. What health insurance should you get? You know, Josh, you can look at their budget and say, hey, you got to get through this 2 years and you got to keep your health going. And also the lawyer, me, I need them to keep treating. So you can't win a case without medical evidence. So if you have no health insurance, it's going to be hard to prove your case because the judge is going to ask, show me the MRI. I couldn't afford it. Show me the specialized testing. Couldn't afford it. They're actually going to say, I'm sorry, but I'm denying you because you have given me no objective testing to complement, to support your subjective limitations and your pain complaints. You got to have the two to go together. I told them peanut butter and jelly. You got to have them both. Medical evidence plus your testimony. And if you don't have health insurance, I can tell you, and you don't have good medical evidence. I mean, you're not gonna. Yeah.
All right. So you're licensed in Virginia and Missouri, or no?
Yeah, in Missouri and West Virginia.
So people in those 3 states can contact. I mean, anyone can contact, but those 3 states, you have a you can represent them. Is that correct?
With ease to federal court, but one of your video persons is in California, and I'm working with another lawyer who sponsored me in California.
Okay.
But at the administrative law level, not that I want to take cases, but at the hearing level, if you had a good friend in Georgia in your neighborhood who's really sick, I could come down for the hearing, and the hearings are on video, so I could actually appear by video now. But it's post-COVID. I can, but at the administrative level, you don't have to be licensed in the state of Georgia because it's federal agencies. You just have to be a licensed lawyer somewhere in the United States.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So I could show up at the hearing and go with them and prep through the phone and email, or I would do a video where I would show up, or right now in a lot of places, it's just on the phone.
Yeah.
So your neighbor would be on the phone with me. I would prep them through Zoom. We would go over their medical records, get them ready. And then the judge would be on the telephone and would ask them questions. That's basically where we are now with COVID. There aren't any live hearings right now.
Well, that's good, man. All right, so they can find you. What's I'll put links to your YouTube channel. You got a website, Skip? What's the website?
It's skiprichielaw.com.
Skip Ritchie Law, and I'll put links to everybody. So again, if this is, and I say this all the time, it's one of those. It's funny because Skip and I were talking previously, like, you know, he's from the trial lawyer perspective, and Skip says, you know, the trial lawyers are, you know, they're knee deep in the hands of the Democrats, but there's a lot of things that tick Skip off about the trial lawyers. And I'm on the Republican side. I'm like, there's a lot of things Republicans tick me off, you know, and Skip's not a lefty. I'm just saying at the end of the day, it's like, this is beyond politics. Don't feel like, oh my goodness, I don't want to go. I was talking to these people today, and they're going to get some significant Obamacare subsidies. And they are as solid of the earth as you ever met. You know, they were hard work and they used to raise pigs, the whole thing. And I said, dude, you didn't make the law. It'd be stupid not to take advantage of the law that it is. You didn't write the law, so take advantage of Obamacare subsidies. And if you're sick and you're having a hard time getting up to work, doesn't mean you're going on welfare. You know what I'm saying? You paid into this stuff. You paid the taxes. There's this thing called OASDI. Old age survivor disability insurance, OASDI, on every single paycheck you've ever received. You paid into it, and your company did too.
Right.
You're not welfare, for heaven's sake. OASDI. Someone paid into that. It was you and your company. So, all right, Skip, I'm going to go. All right, so here, hold on a second. I'm going to unrecord for a second.